The rise of the Abbasid Caliphate stands as one of the pivotal chapters in Islamic and world history, a period marked by revolutionary change, dramatic military victories, and a profound transformation in the cultural and religious landscape of Central Asia. Emerging in the mid-8th century, the Abbasids not only wrested control from the Umayyads, but also ushered in an era that would reshape the trajectory of Islam, laying the foundations for a cosmopolitan civilization whose influence extended far beyond the borders of the Caliphate. The roots of the Abbasid revolution trace back to widespread dissatisfaction with the Umayyad dynasty, which had ruled since 661 CE and had become synonymous with Arab favoritism and exclusivity. The Umayyads' policies marginalized non-Arab Muslims, known as Mawali, and alienated many Persians and Shia supporters who longed for a more inclusive and just Islamic leadership. Against this backdrop of discontent, a revolutionary movement began to take shape, rallying under the banner of Al-Rida min al-Muhammad, the call for a ruler acceptable to the family of Muhammad, signaling both legitimacy and a return to core Islamic values. It was in the remote province of Khorasan, in northeastern Iran and Central Asia, that the Abbasid movement found fertile ground. Here, the charismatic leader Abu Muslim al-Khurasani galvanized support among diverse groups, Mawali, Persians, Turks, and Arab settlers, turning local grievances into a unified revolutionary force. Under his guidance, the movement gathered momentum, launching a series of uprisings against the Umayyad authorities beginning in 747 CE. The revolution spread swiftly, aided by clandestine networks and a shared vision of a new Islamic order. The decisive moment arrived in 750 CE with the Battle of the Zab, a confrontation on the banks of the Great Zab River in northern Iraq, facing the last Umayyad Caliph, Marwan II. The Abbasid forces achieved a resounding victory, effectively ending Umayyad rule in the east. The defeat of Marwan II and the subsequent massacre of many Umayyad family members marked a dramatic turning point in Islamic history. Abu al-Abbas al-Saffah, a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad's uncle, Al-Abbas ibn Abd al-Muttalib, was proclaimed the first Abbasid Caliph, inaugurating a new era. The consolidation of Abbasid power was not merely a political triumph. It was a transformative moment for the Islamic world. Caliph al-Mansur, the second Abbasid ruler, founded Baghdad in 762 CE on the banks of the Tigris River. Conceived as a city of peace, Baghdad quickly rose to prominence as a global center of learning, trade, and culture. Its circular design symbolized unity, and its libraries, academies, and bustling markets attracted scholars, merchants, and travelers from across the known world. Baghdad became the beating heart of the Caliphate and the epicenter of the Islamic Golden Age. The reach of the Abbasid Caliphate extended far beyond the Arabian Peninsula, especially into the vast expanses of Central Asia. The spread of Islam across regions such as Khorasan, Transoxiana, and Khwarezm was not simply the result of military conquest. It was a complex process shaped by missionary work, trade, and cultural integration. The cities of Samarkand and Bukhara emerged as vibrant centers of Islamic learning, renowned for their madrasas and libraries. Here, scholars debated theology, philosophy, and the sciences, contributing to the rich tapestry of Islamic civilization. A key factor in the spread of Islam throughout Central Asia was the role of Sufi missionaries. Unlike the earlier waves of conquest, the Sufis emphasized spiritual guidance, peaceful conversion, and cultural adaptation. Through poetry, music, and communal rituals, they forged deep connections with Turkic and Persian peoples, integrating local traditions into the fabric of Islamic practice. Their approach fostered trust and acceptance, facilitating the gradual but profound spread of Islam far beyond the reach of armies. The conversion of the Turkic tribes was a watershed moment in the history of the region. Groups such as the Samanids, Ghaznavids, and, in later centuries, the Seljuks embraced Islam, becoming both defenders and promoters of the faith. The Samanid Empire, which arose in the 9th century and remained loyal to the Abbasids, played a crucial role in extending Islamic influence deep into Central Asia. Their patronage of scholars, poets, and theologians helped ensure that Islam became woven into the social and political fabric of the region. Yet, the rise and expansion of the Abbasid Caliphate was also marked by a series of military campaigns and strategic alliances that solidified their rule. The Battle of the Zab, as mentioned, was the defining victory that ended Umayyad supremacy. But the Abbasids did not rest on their laurels. Throughout the 750s and 800s, they launched campaigns to reassert control over Khorasan, Transoxiana, and Khwarezm, territories that were vital both strategically and economically. These campaigns were not always straightforward conquests. They often involved complex negotiations and the forging of alliances with local Persian and Turkic rulers, who were given autonomy in exchange for loyalty to the caliphate. The Abbasids also faced external threats from the Byzantine Empire to the west. Periodic campaigns and raids into Anatolia tested the mettle of the Abbasid armies. While these incursions did not result in lasting territorial gains, they were essential in maintaining the military prestige of the caliphate and in checking Byzantine expansion. The borderlands between the Islamic and Byzantine worlds became zones of cultural and commercial exchange, shaped as much by conflict as by cooperation. Internal strife, however, was never far from the surface. The Abbasid period witnessed its share of civil wars and dynastic struggles, none more consequential than the conflict between the brothers Al-Amin and Al-Mamun from 811 to 813 CE. This bitter contest for the caliphate culminated in Al-Mamun's victory and the beginning of a new era marked by scientific and intellectual flourishing. Under his patronage, scholars from across the empire converged on Baghdad, translating Greek, Persian, and Indian texts, and laying the foundations for advances in mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. The legacy of the Abbasid Caliphate is perhaps most visible in the transformation of Islam from an Arab-centric faith into a truly global civilization. The Abbasids presided over a period of unprecedented cultural synthesis, blending Arab, Persian, and Central Asian elements into a rich and diverse tapestry. Arabic became the lingua franca of scholarship and administration, while Persian literature and art flourished, influencing generations to come. This era saw the rise of some of history's greatest minds. In mathematics, Al-Khwarizmi developed the concept of algebra and introduced Hindu-Arabic numerals to the world. In medicine, Avicenna, known as Ibn Sina, compiled the Canon of Medicine, a work that would remain a standard reference in Europe and the Islamic world for centuries. In science, Al-Biruni explored astronomy, physics, and geography, producing insights that would shape both Eastern and Western thought. The Abbasids also presided over a vibrant intellectual life, with institutions such as the House of Wisdom in Baghdad attracting scholars from every corner of the empire. Here, Greek philosophy, Indian mathematics, and Persian poetry were studied, debated, and synthesized, creating a culture of inquiry and innovation unrivaled in the medieval world. Trade flourished along the Silk Road, bringing goods, ideas, and peoples into contact and fostering an unprecedented era of prosperity and exchange. The spread of Islam across Central Asia under the Abbasids was not simply a matter of religious conversion. It was a process of deep cultural transformation. The adoption of Islamic law, the construction of mosques, and the establishment of madrasas all contributed to the integration of Central Asian societies into the wider Islamic world. Local elites embraced the faith, incorporating Islamic values into governance and daily life while maintaining distinctive cultural traditions. Through their military victories, diplomatic acumen, and commitment to learning, the Abbasids forged an empire that not only survived for centuries, but also laid the groundwork for later Islamic dynasties, including the Turks and Mongols who would come to dominate the region. The legacy of the Abbasid Caliphate endures in the architecture of Samarkand and Bukhara, in the poetry of Rumi, and in the scientific achievements that continue to inspire today. In reflecting on the rise of the Abbasid Caliphate, the spread of Islam across Central Asia, and their major military victories, it becomes clear that this was an era defined by both conflict and synthesis, an age in which the boundaries of faith, culture, and knowledge were expanded and enriched. The Abbasids transformed the Islamic world from a regional power into a global civilization, leaving a legacy that resonates through the centuries and across continents. Their story is one of revolution and renewal, of conquest and coexistence, and of the enduring power of ideas to shape the destiny of peoples and nations.